that you can find. It's a rabbit hole I disappear down into for hours at a time. So.
Yeah. Right. All right. So let's conclude with this last paragraph here.
Okay.
I'm very disappointed in you. You quoted a known racist, Dr. Seuss.
I did.
Huh. I never forget I read something. They said they're going to ban Dr. Seuss because he was racist. I said, daggone, I was raising that dude. I didn't realize that. And obviously, my father didn't realize it. I mean, a guy who worked for the Kentucky Commission on Human Rights, worked for the Urban League director of the Urban League down in Warren, Ohio. He didn't realize the guy was racist.
Who knew?
Dr. Seuss. Dang, man. Okay, but let me quote you quoting Dr. Seuss.
Okay.
The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Dr. Seuss. Go ahead. Give me your final thoughts there.
Well, I just, and I go on to talk about the fact that we can equip our students to do whatever their dream, go wherever their dreams can take them. Obviously, we're not going to graduate a whole class full of presidents of the United States, but there's a lot of other dreams out there that we can equip students to fulfill. And I think that's what you need to be doing. And instead, we are filling them with thoughts, values, beliefs, ideas that may or may not be true. And we are failing to equip them with the necessary skills to go out and discover whether or not those are true. And that's what they believe in. So I just, and I'm holding the school board accountable because they are the ones that are making policy. They are now requiring our teachers they have to do the racial equity assessment thing, the REAP report that they have to do. They have to use the R tool, the affirming racial equity tool for all of their lessons that they have to do. They have to write a professional growth plan, which is fine, but part of that professional growth plan is now a racial equity growth plan. Meanwhile, they have students in their classroom that have not been in the classroom for almost 2 years, who are probably 2 years or more behind academically, and they really need to be focusing on how do we bring these kids up to speed with where they need to be. But instead, they're being inundated with these other things that they have to focus on, and and that's the school board telling them that these are the things you need to focus on, all of the racial equity, stuff that they are supposed to focus on, rather than teaching them how to read. So we have a couple of classes here in Jefferson County focusing on social equity and racial equity and things like that. And just this morning, I posted, because I'm currently reading Thomas Sowell's book right now, Intellectuals and Race. And I said, you know what, in response to these social equity classes, what we need to be providing is a class about race and how it's affected our society from the perspective of people like Dr. Thomas Sowell, Dr. Walter Williams, Dr. Ben Carson, if we want to incorporate that in. Honestly, we could read Thomas Sowell all year and still not cover, even a quarter of the books that he's read. But we need to have a really honest conversation about this. And he brings in facts and solid truths that can't be argued with, that would equip these students to go out and think critically about the challenges we face. Do we still face challenges of race in our country? Absolutely. Is it a multifaceted problem? Yes. It's not just one thing. There's not going to be one solution. We don't need to be teaching our kindergartners how to do this stuff. We need to teach our kindergartners how to read so that our kindergartners can grow up to be third and fourth graders who are starting to learn, about information and think critically about that stuff on their own and go on to think about that more. So there's solutions to be had out there. We need to be pressuring them to find them and to implement them.
Right. Couldn't agree with you more. This is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host. Go to my website and booktalkwithcorbin.com. Put in the search engine there where you can find other interviews I've done with Sister Beanie and other great scholars on this issue, critical race theory, school choice, things of that nature. It's very important. It's all very important, folks. And as I was trying to talk about in the beginning, it's time we got to take a different direction. We got to make a different turn, because this is stuff we were talking about decades ago. and busing is supposed to solve it, and it didn't. And so we're just producing year after year after year after year students, black and white, who are not as prepared as they can be or should be to deal with a rapidly changing world. It's a rapidly changing world out there, folks. And as the sister has said, reading's fundamental. Reading's fundamental. I mean, there are a lot of opportunities out there for our young people, but man, if you can't read, spell, come on, man, you serious? It's not gonna work out for you. Sis, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Sure, and let's keep in touch, okay?
Will do.